Welcome everybody to wisestake.com MMA DFS podcast. I'm your host Jeff, aka Wigsplitter. If you head on over to Twitter, you can follow me at JEFPO. Saturday night features another solid MMA DFS card. UFC Fight Night 122, Bisping versus Gastelum in Shanghai, China. If you're not already a subscriber, head on over to wisestake.com and check out our premium package, premium MMA package. It's only $6.99 per UFC event. It has a premium article, and it also has detailed fight breakdown with my picks on who's to win and roster suggestions. In fact, we are currently running a free trial promotion for our $29.99 monthly plan. If you sign up, you'll get a 7-day free trial access to all the premium content covering NBA, NFL, and MMA. If for some reason you're not completely satisfied, you can cancel within the 7 days and you will not be charged. But before we jump into UFC Fight Night 122, let's go over the previous card, which was UFC Fight Night Burton versus Tybura. I did okay on this card. I went 11-2. The two fights that I picked incorrectly were the Nick Lentz Will Brooks fight. I was expecting Will Brooks to actually show up against Nick Lentz, and I mean, Nick Lentz is an older fighter, so and a journeyman. I wasn't necessarily expecting that one to go that way. And then the other one that I incorrectly picked was Tim Means and Bilal Muhammad. That was a really good fight, and it was a coin toss. Muhammad won by split decision, so I can't be too upset about that one. But the rest of the card, I mean, 11-2, that's pretty solid. All right, now moving on to the current fight card, UFC Fight Night 122, Bisping versus Gastelum. It's in Shanghai, China. Initially, when I first saw this card, I was a little apprehensive. I was a little tentative. I was like, wow, there's going to be a lot of guys. I have no idea who these guys are. A lot of Chinese fighters. But digging deeper into it, this is actually a pretty exciting card to watch, or I'm looking forward to watching. So the first fight on the Fight Pass prelims is Cyril Asker versus Yao Zhong Hu. Asker's salary on DraftKings is $9,200. At the time of this recording, he's a minus 250 favorite, according to Vegas. Hu salary is $7,000, and he's a plus 210 underdog. Both these guys are heavyweights. The best thing about heavyweights in your lineups is the fight could end at any time. So both these guys are viable options. Asker's salary is a little high. Asker is a grappler. He has decent KO power. And he's making his UFC debut. He's a Greco-Roman wrestler. Solid punching power, above average ground and pound. So I could see this one definitely not going the distance. But at the end of the day, who's going to be left standing is pretty much a toss-up. Moving on to the next fight, we have Burton going up against Rolando Dai. Rolando Dai is a former Filipino professional boxer. He lost his last fight against Ishihara, where he technically had an illegal strike, kicked the dude in the nuggets, and got some points taken away. It possibly could have been a draw. I mean, it was a pretty even fight. He's technically 0-2 in the UFC. Now, Burton is making his professional debut, or UFC debut. I wouldn't say professional debut. Currently on a 3-fight winning streak. He has fought average fighting competition. He has below average power and decent grappling. Now, going up against a stand-up guy like Dai, if Dai can keep it standing, it's not going to necessarily fare too well for Burton. But Burton's salary is only $7,500 on DraftKings, and Dye's salary is $8,700. Burton is a plus 145 underdog, and Dye is a 165 favorite. Roster building wise, I mean, taking a flyer on a guy like Wigsplitter, I'm not sure if I could do that. And Dye at the same time, not sure if he scores enough potentially to get you over. I mean, when you're building your lineup, you want to look for guys that are going to score 80 plus, preferably 90 to 100 and over. I don't think he's a volume enough striker or has enough takedowns to do that. So I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to fade both guys or either, but I'm looking at possibly Burton as a value play. All right, moving on to the next fight, we have Yan Wu going up against Gina Masny. Wu's making her UFC debut. She's a strong, powerful, athletic striker. 6 of her 9 wins have come by knockout. And Masny, on the other hand, she's coming off of a loss to Sarah McMahon. She did take the fight on short notice, but her time on The Ultimate Fighter, she didn't necessarily look too impressive. She's pretty much average all the way around. And Wu, on the other hand, is making her debut in her home country. Probably going to want to put on a show. Wu's salary $7,800 plus 120 underdog, and Masny is $8,400 salary as a minus 140 favorite. I think the odds probably will be a little closer when it comes closer to fight time, but at the same time, both their salaries are comparable and they're workable. You can work either one of them around. I'm not exactly sure if I want to roster either one of them. I just want to see how the roster build goes. As you can see, as we'll go along further, some of the fighters that I'm leaning towards. Moving on to the next fight, we have Chase Sherman going up against Shamil Abdur. Sherman's a high-volume striker, catch wrestler. Very fluid movement for being a big guy. Has solid power going up against Abdur. He's coming off a 4th-round TKO loss to Derek the Beast Lewis. He has solid cardio for a heavyweight. Decent takedowns. He's also a volume striker. Sherman is 8,000 plus 120 underdog, and Abdur is an 8,200 salary, and he's a minus 140 favorite. I'd say it's a pick'em. Both these guys, especially their salary, is very workable into your lineup. It could be a slugfest, so cash game easily. You can probably stack these guys, something like that to fit into a cash lineup. Moving on to the next fight, we have Song Yarong versus Bharat Qunari. Qunari, the first cool news about Qunari, he's making his UFC debut. Both these guys are. But he's the first Indian-born fighter that's going to be fighting in the UFC. He has solid submission skills, very strong grappling. Going to probably want to take the fight to the mat. Yarong Song is 19-year-old with above-average speed and above-average power. I want to dig a little deeper into this fight. I want to see if I can find any more video on Song's takedown defense or his grappling. A lot of these Chinese fighters, it's very limited on their video. Song's salary is $8,600. He's a plus 110 underdog. Qunari is $7,600 salary, and he's a minus 130 favorite. Qunari's salary is very workable. If if that's where my build is going to lean me towards. Both these guys are, making their debut. He's a young guy, 19 years old, but he has a couple of years of fighting experience underneath his belt. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Song's salary at 8,600. It's fairly high if you want to take a GPP flyer on the underdog. Moving on to the next fight, we have Curran going up against Xiaonan Yan. Curran, currently on a 3-fight losing streak. To me, she has average striking and below average grappling. Not very impressive. Going up against Yan, who's making her UFC debut. The video I've seen is she seems like a very, very exciting fighter. Strong kicks, powerful punches. Caitlin Curran's salary is 8,300 on DraftKings. She's a plus 115 underdog going up against Yan. 7,900 salary and a minus 135 favorite. I'm a little stuck on this one. I'm not sure if I want to put up 8,000, 8,300 or 7,900 for, possibly 50, 60 points. So even with the win, you're looking at maybe eclipsing the 80 to 90-ish point-ish area. So I'm not sure if either of these two ladies are going to fit into my lineup, but it's possible. If there's an early submission or maybe an early stoppage, could be possible. Moving on to the next fight, we have Kanaan versus Bobby Nash. Bobby Nash has some insane power, dude. He has a very, very tough left hook that he can just stop people with. Plus, he has good grappling. Going up against Kanaan, he's all around average fighter. Nothing really stands out. Average power, average grappling. So it could be that they cancel each other out and just keep the fight standing. So it could be a slugfest. Song's salary is 7,100. He's a plus 250 underdog, and Nash's salary is 9,100, and he's a minus 300 favorite. With that being said, I will be looking at either one of these two fighters to possibly roster, maybe even stack in a cash lineup. Moving on to the next fight, we have Zabit Magomed-Sharpoff going up against Sherman Moraes. Magomed-Sharpoff salary is 9,300. He's the highest guy on for this slate. He's a minus 470 favorite going up against Moraes. 6,900 salary. He's a plus 375 underdog. Magomed-Sharpoff is a very exciting, flashy fighter. Now Moraes, on the other hand, is no slouch. He has a strong Muay Thai background, above average power, solid grappling. I don't think it's the odds. I mean, I understand the hype behind Magomed-Sharpoff and how exciting and flashy he is, but I don't see Moraes being such a huge underdog. I think it's probably closer odds-wise, and I want to see how the money, how the sharp money comes in Friday. Keep in mind, you gotta if you're here in the States, it's a 3:45 a.m. start for this card on UFC Fight Pass. So you want to make sure you get your lineups in Friday, at least to get them cemented in. I'll try to have my final video, premium video for sure, by 3 o'clock Pacific time. But Sharpoff for sure is a heavy favorite, and it's understandable. I mean, he's one of the top prospects coming up. Very exciting fighter, but like I said, Moraes at that salary, 6,900. I mean, I'd love to take a flyer, GPP flyer with him in it. It just opens so much more that you can use for your roster building. All right, moving on to the first fight in the Fight Pass main card. It's Muslim Salahoff, 8,900 salary. He's a minus 190 favorite going up against Garcia, 7,300 salary plus 165 underdog. Salahoff is another flashy striker. He has insane spinning kicks with insane punching power. He's only been out of the first round one time in all of his 12 wins. So that is, plus he's making his UFC debut. Going up against Garcia. Very good grappling, decent takedowns. I mean, he averages almost 4 takedowns per fight. 2 solid, significant strikes per minute. So, I mean, he's going to be in this fight. I mean, it's pretty close on paper. I want to see how the weigh-ins go for a lot of these fighters, but especially people training in the States and then flying back to China, for fight week, could have a little bit of effect on their weight cutting if they do have an issue with it. So that being said, 8,900 salary, minus 190 favorite, going up against Garcia, 7,300 plus 165. I could see this one being a possible stack for your cash lineup, or take a GPP flyer. Moving on to the next fight, we have Guan going up against Alex Casars. Guan is making his UFC debut. He's a solid striker with a Sancho background, decent takedown defense. He actually moved his training camp to American Top Team in the States, training with guys like Dustin Poirier and all those killers over there. Going against Casars, who's a very up and down fighter. He wins one, loses one. His most notable win was against Sergio Pettis, but at the same time, Pettis wasn't. I mean, he's sort of a smaller guy for this weight class, and Casars is a bigger guy. But Guan is actually going to have, I think, a 2-inch height advantage and maybe a 1 or 2 inch reach advantage. So it'll be interesting to see how Casars fares against somebody even size to him. Guan's salary is 7,700 and Casars is 8,500. So I like both of their salaries. It's possible that this could go to a decision and they could have enough volume to where they could score decent for a cash lineup if you're going to stack a set of guys. All right, moving on to the next fight, we have Li Jinglong going up against Zach Otto. Jinglong is 8,800 salary. He's a minus 175 favorite. Going up against Otto, 7,400 salary plus 155 underdog. Jinglong is hands down one of the best Chinese MMA fighters so far. He's very well rounded, willing to stand and bang, throw punches. He averages just a little 4.5 punches per minute, almost over 1.5 takedowns per fight. Currently on a 3-fight winning streak, going up against Zach Otto, who's a gritty grappler. Has decent striking himself, has solid output. He averages a little over 3 strikes per fight and less than 1 takedown per fight. So I like this match as well. Both these guys are probably going to want to put on a show. I'm going to dig a little more deep into it, and you'll see who I'll pick Friday in the premium article. But both of these guys are viable options. I'm leaning more towards one than the other. Moving on to the main fight, we have Michael Bisping going up against Kevin Gastelum. Bisping just coming off a submission loss to GSP, taking this fight on short notice to fill in for the suspended Anderson Silva, or possible suspended Anderson Silva for USADA doping, going up against Kelvin Gastelum, 9,000 salary, minus 300 favorite. I have some concerns about this because after the fight, Bisping had said that his ribs, he was coming into the GSP fight with a rib injury. I'm not sure how fast his ribs can heal in a couple weeks, but maybe they weren't hurting as bad, or I don't know. Maybe he was just making excuses. But if you're a UFC fan at all, you understand Bisping's been around such a long time. He's throws a lot of punches. He's very overlooked. He's aggressive, always come forward fighter. Going up against Gastelum, he's a similar type fighter. He has insane come forward pressure. He has solid grappling. Both these guys are high volume strikers, so points. This would be another cash game, viable stack. Especially Bisping's salary 7,200. He's a plus 250 underdog. Gastelum 9,000 with a minus 300 favorite. It is close on the building for a roster. GPP wise, there's a lot of flyers you can look at. There's a lot of favorites that are going to be heavy. As long as the research proves and we follow the process, I have a feeling that here at Y-Stake Nation, we're going to have a successful DFS night again. MMA DFS is one of those things where it's fighting, so anything can happen. But in reality, we increase our odds by making sure that we do all our due diligence and look into everything. So with that being said, don't forget to follow us, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to smash the like button. You can follow me on Twitter at JEFPO. Don't forget to follow us at wise_take. You can follow us on Facebook. iTunes, don't forget to give us that 5-star rating. And always have fun, make money, and be safe.
Yeah.